Alright, it's time for some hot takes. Not just any hot takes. Sonic the Hedgehog hot takes. Last week I asked you guys to submit all of your juiciest takes on the Sonic the Hedgehog series. And now, well, we're gonna cover some of those. You guys have come up with some wild takes, I will say that. Before we start this video though, we got a quick sponsorship actually. This video is sponsored by Dubby. They're a brand new up-and-coming energy drink company made for gamers like you and me. I've tried companies like Hyde and G Fuel in the past, but nothing quite beats Dubby's quality. They have a large selection of flavors, and I'm sure you guys will not get tired of trying them out. If you guys want to buy some Dubby today, you guys can click the link in my description. Make sure to use my referral code to get 10% off any of their products. Not only do you get an amazing deal, you also help out me and the channel. Anyways, back to the video. Alright, so talking about hot takes. The Sonic fandom is known for being a very opinionated fanbase. We all know this to be true. Let's get rolling with one of the best hot takes I've seen from you guys in a quick minute. SCP-8605 says, I don't think it's a hot take, but I don't like Boost. I think Momentum is way better. Boost should only be used for bonus stages, not for the entire game. It's overused and kinda lazy. Generations has good boost stages though. I know Momentum can be frustrating because Sonic feels heavy and you have to build up your speed, but at least you're not forced to boost every 5 seconds to maintain speed, quote unquote, because there's no inertia, and Sonic doesn't feel completely weightless. So, I will say this is a hot take, because quite a lot of people in the fandom do enjoy the boost stages and the boost gameplay. I am personally, if I'm gonna be real, I might have to side with you a little bit because I am a major fan of the adventure games. And I've always loved Momentum or like just anything that's kind of like not boost, you know? Like I love 06, I know that's a hot take in of itself. I love Heroes, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, those kind of games. But I still am quite a fan of the boost. I think the boost has, at least at a time, had its place in the series. It was a great way to like freshen up the old gameplay formula that we had gotten used to at the time back in the 2000s. I think like when Unleashed came out, it was like such a breath of fresh air. Not counting the Werehog stages, even though I like the Werehog stages, I'm aware not everybody did. But the boost gameplay itself, you know, it really does encapsulate like Sonic's gotta go fast nature. But you know, I respect your opinion though. I do think, in a sense, I would prefer the Sonic games to at least rely a bit more on Momentum, not purely the boost. At Project PJ says, they need to make another Sonic game with the rookie / another character that we can customize, and not with the fanfic writing that we got in Sonic Forces. It'll make everyone happy for the mistake of a game they made with Forces. And don't get me wrong, I love the game for its idea of another person other than Sonic saving the day. People just didn't like how the game was written like a damn fanfic. I want to say this is a bit of a hot take, because I remember when Forces was like announced, and the whole idea of there being a customizable character, it was kind of mocked, because it was like, oh, my original character, do not steal. But here's what I'm going to say about that. I do think getting another Sonic game with, like, customization, like, whether it's a customizable character, or maybe making it where Sonic himself or the other characters are customizable, would be a genius idea. So honestly, I don't really think it's a hot take, because I would like to see more customization in my Sonic games, whether it's, again, an original character, Sonic himself, whatever, you know. So at Farttooth6312 says, hot takes. Sonic series? Force's non-vocal music sucked. Color's Ultimate needed a little more time in the oven. Unleashed Werehog stages were rubbish. Sonic Underground was underrated. Sonic 2 and 3 are overrated. Sonic 1 was honestly not as good as the sequels. Nobody actually 100%ed Sonic CD. And Sonic ships are really goofy. Look at the Wattpad for example. You will never be the same. Okay, this one's a bit of a doozy. I almost was considering just putting one of the hot takes you had here in this video, but I think I'll try to tackle all of them at once. I don't think it's a hot take to say the Force's music in general wasn't that great, because even though there are people that are pretty big fans of it, I do know generally overall a lot of people were not a big fan of the direction that Sonic Team took with music in Sonic Forces. So I guess you kind of are right on that one. I think we can all agree on Color's Ultimate not being the best. I remember when it first came out and I was hella disappointed with how the quality of it was, the glitches and all that. And it's a shame too, because it should have been a very easy job to port it over, but they decided to rebuild it all. supposedly due to reasons that they lost like the original code or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that's very much not a hot take. Now, you did mention that the Werehog stages were rubbish. Now, I will say that is a hot take, because as time has gone on, a lot of people have like started to gain an affinity for the stages. I did mention earlier in one of the past hot takes that there are still people who don't like those stages that much, but I wouldn't call them rubbish. I would say it's a different gameplay style. It's very much God of War-like, and if you like combat in your Sonic games, you'll like this. If you like a slower pace, you will like Shiz's Werehog stages. They are high quality, they're just not for everybody. Calling Sonic Underground underrated is very much a reach in my opinion. I grew up with the series, don't get me wrong, and I do love it for what it is, but I think the quality of the show varies so much, both in animation quality. The story was very convoluted. The voice acting, I love Jaleel White, don't get me wrong, but like for some characters it could have definitely been like better. But you know what, I will respect your opinion, but that is very much a hot take. I'm gonna leave yours off on the fact that you were bringing up how Sonic 2 and 3 are overrated, but Sonic 1 isn't as good as those two games. I agree that Sonic 1 isn't as good as the next few sequels that came out after it, because obviously it was the beginning of the series. There was a lot that the team had to learn about like designing the Sonic games and all that. But I will say, like, the call like Sonic 2 and 3 overrated, I think is a bit of a stretch, because I think for the 90s, those were some of the best 2D platformers we had gotten at the time. It might be something to say that they're a bit dated maybe, but even then, I think those are classics. Most of the fandom would agree on my stance, I believe. At Ghost That Is Cool 8652 says, Shadow needs more screen time. That's definitely not a hot take. I feel like most of the fandom is in love with Shadow. He's a fan favorite character, and he has been ever since he was shown off in Sonic Adventure 2. But I will say though that, like, I guess the one part of it that could be seen as a hot take is like the video game Shadow the Hedgehog was definitely not very well received by the fandom, or just like the mass gaming critics at the time. So I think if he does get more screen time, a more gameplay, I should say, like more of a playable role, I think moving forward they could try to like re-innovate what you can do with Shadow, where he isn't, not only is he not just a Sonic clone, I guess, in a sense, but also not you know, just somebody who's gonna be shooting people up. At Don Carlins Lottie 2256, I'm so sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing these names, says, Blaze is easily on Sonic and Shadow's power level, but many writers, cough cough Archie, will make her look weak. She also should bear more of a leadership role being a princess, but she usually takes the back seat in group situations. Honestly, with Blaze, I think we just haven't seen enough of her character being utilized in the actual game universe to really get a feel for how she should be as a character. Because sure, she starred in Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure, but with those being handheld games, I think moving forward, because you're right, you are definitely right, I feel like her role doesn't seem to be very befitting considering the title that she's given as a princess of her dimension. But I think we just need more time to see like what the writers could do with her. Hopefully we'll see in her future game like as a mainline title, and she isn't just relegated to being a side character. As for her being on Sonic and Shadow's power level, I think that's a pretty hard disagree, because in Shadow's case, obviously he's known as the ultimate life form, that's like a given. So I don't see Blaze matching that. She probably does match Sonic though, because again, I personally believe, and I think it's kind of supported in the fandom, that Shadow's either more powerful than Sonic, or like maybe just a bit on one way or the other, whether Sonic's a bit more powerful or Shadow's a bit more powerful. But with Blaze being essentially an alternate universe Sonic, I think it could be said that she could be on Sonic's power level. Maybe the fire powers could give her like the one up in that situation. I don't know, it just depends on how you look at it. At Speedman8365 says, you know what? They need to make Metal Sonic a threat. I'm not even kidding. He was so weak, he was replaced by a Phantom version of himself. Like, come on. And on top of that, he can't match Sonic's speed anymore. I thought he was supposed to be a perfect Metal copy, not Pseudo-Sonic. Not saying Metal Sonic isn't cool, he is. I'm saying that Sega isn't doing him so well, and it sucks. Also, don't bring up Generations, those were the classic era versions. Classic Metal is safe. Metal Sonic is feeling less like a challenge and more like an auto-scroller. Yet again, this is not really a hot take. I feel like a lot of the fandom at least especially the people I know in my inner circles that I talk to, they love Metal Sonic. He's always been a very popular character and a very much beloved character. But I think when characters like Knuckles and Shadow and other like future rivals were introduced, I think Metal Sonic started to take the backseat more and more. And with that, you know, obviously, you know, if you've got a popular character like, again, Shadow, I'm going to use him as the main example, you know, who outclasses Sonic, or at the very least is like pretty well matched up with him. Why have Metal Sonic be a threat anymore? I think that's what Sega's like thought process with it was. I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's what I'm guessing was going on in their minds. I'm personally all for Metal Sonic being made a threat again. I don't think that's too much of a stretch, honestly, to want that out of the series. But I wouldn't keep my breath, like, I wouldn't hold my breath on it because, again, it doesn't seem like Sega's trying to utilize him in any major way anymore, but I do think we could see something maybe possibly pop up again like what happened in Sonic Heroes with Neo Metal Sonic. At Fresh Hill Sand says, "You gotta make everyone go into a Fortnite battle and fight to the death." Now, obviously, this isn't a hot take, but I do find it pretty funny because I've been getting back into Fortnite lately, so what a coincidence, right? But to wrap up this video, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who did submit their hot takes. I want to do more of these videos in the future, so if you haven't made a comment already on my community post, you can make a comment on this video of what hot takes you have with the Sonic series. I might make this a weekly thing or maybe a monthly thing. I don't know, I'm still figuring out scheduling things with all the videos that I plan on setting out. But again, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified when my new videos come out. Thank you again for all the support, and I guess we have to hit a goal. Let's try hitting 100K by, let's say, June. Alright guys, catch you later.